Blog Talk Radio.
Strength and honor. Whatever happens, stick together. At my signal, unleash hell. What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
You're listening to Global Fact Radio.
Okay, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Full Disclosure, the Dean Clifford Files. Today is April the 27th, I believe. Yes, 2013. And once again, my name is Tony Boutros. I'll be your host. So I'm hoping that I can conclude the revealing of the evidence in this episode. There's quite a stuff I have to reveal today, so I might have to go do one more episode, but I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that I can do it all today. Anyway, I'm going to be presenting the evidence of my most recent conversations with Dean Clifford. At times, I might sound like I'm reading, and that's because I am. I put together some notes to help me stay focused and that we won't miss anything important. Now, for those who are new to this and who are not up to speed on what's been happening, I will give you a quick description of what these episodes are all about. In response to Dean Clifford's questionable post that he made on his forum on March 26th, exactly 8 days after the FU concept was unveiled, I promised to release evidence of my conversations with Dean in order to out the truth. Keep in mind that I gave Dean plenty of time to come forward and make things right, but today he hasn't. Since I'm a man of my word, and as promised, I'm now releasing the audio recordings, emails, and images of the text messages of my most recent conversations with him just before and after his incarceration. My motive is not to convince anyone to take sides, but rather to let the truth be known so we can once and for all put it behind us and move forward. As I feel that everyone deserves that at least. In my opinion, these conversations regarding the FU project affect everyone in the freedom movement and hence should be made a matter of public record. That said, what you decide to do with this information is entirely up to you. After disclosure, if you choose to continue following Dean, all the power to you. I wish you all the best on the path you've chosen. However, if you decide to be part of the FU project, then I would be honored to embark on this journey with you. Some of you have already expressed that you are in favor of seeing this evidence. Others feel it is unnecessary and it should be dealt with in private. I'm sorry, but I don't share the opinion of the latter, as this type of thinking is dangerous and promotes secrecy. This is, after all, the very same thing we have been trying to avoid with our governance. Dean is not just another member. He is a public figure and a leader in the movement, and as such, any discussions that could affect or have an effect on the people and the movement must be made public. Those who disagree, you are, of course, entitled to your own opinion, but I would appreciate it if you would keep those opinions to yourselves, as I'm not here to engage in any arguments or disputes with you. This is not the purpose of these episodes. Full disclosure and complete transparency is what this is all about, and that's what I believe in. This is my promise that I made, and I will keep this promise. If you don't like it, that's tough. You can deal with it. That said, if you do have valid questions that you would like me to clarify, then identify yourself and ask away. I would be more than happy to answer any question regarding this matter, and I would prefer that you do it on the air. And I say this for two reasons. One, I want to hear your voice as you ask your question. And two, I want it recorded on the archive for all to hear. I'll even conference you onto the show if you don't want to pay the long distance charges. But if you're going to hide behind a nickname and spew propaganda and attacks in the chat room just to discredit what I'm saying, then I'm sorry, I don't have time for that crap. Furthermore, the chat privileges will be turned off while I present the evidence to avoid any distractions. They will, however, be turned back on once I'm done presenting the evidence during the Q&A portion of the episode. So I suggest for you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down your questions so you won't forget them. Now, the reason I decided to air the evidence on the show is simply because some of our listeners are not members of our Facebook group, and they have as much right to hear the evidence as everyone else. Due to the amount of evidence that will be presented, it might be necessary to do it in 2 or 3 episodes, and this is episode 3. I might have to go to episode 4, I don't know just yet, depending on the time it would take to get it all done. Having said that, but I guess I should at this point let everybody know how to do the screen sharing, because today I will be sharing some evidence on the screen. Unlike in episode 2, it was just the audio recording. There was no documents shared. But today there will be some stuff shared on the screen. So those of you who are listening, if you haven't yet shared my screen in the past, then you need to follow these 5 steps in order to set up your computer to be able to see my screen. This does not compromise your computer in any way, shape, or form. All this does prepares your computer so you can see my screen and I can't see yours. So it's my computer that's actually being compromised here, not yours. So what you need to do first thing is you need to go to this link, which I'm going to post in the chat room right now. There it is. Okay, www.freeconferencing.com/meetings/869-173-609. Once you go there, you're going to you get a pop-up window asking you to run application. Also, you'll see a message in your browser saying your meeting will begin shortly. Sometimes this pop-up window will be hidden out of sight behind your browser window. You might have to minimize all your open windows to see it. Click Run Application in the pop-up window. You will then be asked to save a file. You must save this file and run it after it is saved. Once this is done, you'll be able to see my screen. Now, this process will take about 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops. So while this is happening, I'm going to play our weekly programming notes, followed by announcements, and then I'll go ahead and proceed with today's episode and revealing the evidence. So while you guys do that, I'm going to play our programming notes.
Here are your weekly Global Fact Radio programming notes. We host great shows every week. Our feature show, How To, with special weekly guests, hosted by Tony Boutros, Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Truth Talk, conspiracy-based topics and weekly news with hosts Paul Webster and Chance George, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Conscious Living, hosted by Tony Boutros, with special weekly guests, is featured Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alternative Mummy, exploring the natural side of everyday issues. Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. While on our episode page, hit our follow button to stay updated on upcoming shows. We want to hear from you at 646-478-5728, or you can hit the Skype icon while on our episode page for free. You can also email your comments or questions to Tony at globalfact2012.com. Finally, thank you to everyone who tunes in. You are the revolution. This has been your Global Fact Radio programming notes. You're listening to Global Fact Radio.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to apologize for our last Thursday show, our Conscious Living episode with Wally Dove. We were only able to archive 1 hour of the show, and that's because the Blog Talk Radio site once again was undergoing hack attacks. It happened last Thursday when I originally had Wally Dove scheduled for the show, but the attacks came in before the show started airing, so we ended up canceling, or actually rescheduling, till the next Thursday, which was a couple of days ago. And again, it happened a couple of days ago, but this time it happened after the show started. It's too much of a coincidence for me, and when I spoke to tech support at Blog Talk Radio, they said, they haven't had attacks like this before, so their engineers are trying to, to beef up the network security so this kind of thing won't happen again. But I find it kind of odd that it happens 2 Thursdays in a row, right when we had Wally Dove going to be coming on and talking to us about his lawsuit his actual lawsuit that's pending to be filed in August 2013. I guess somebody out there just does not want this information to be made public. Anyway, so that's one announcement. The other announcement is this coming Monday, day after tomorrow, I have returning with us going to be guest Stan McDonald. He was supposed to be on the show last Monday, but we had a little mix-up with scheduling, so he didn't show. But he confirmed with me he will be here this Monday. And the topic of the show is going to be solutions to mortgages and loans. There's going to be more discussed than that, but that's the main topic. He's got a lot of information to share with you, so make sure you tune in for that. So solutions to mortgages and loans this coming Monday, April 29th, on How To with Stan McDonald. All right, let me see here. What else do I have for announcements? Okay, I think that's about it. Now, there's a little note I want to make before I start sharing the evidence. One is that there are still some people out there that are not understanding the real purpose of why I'm revealing this evidence. And I've been going through a lot of hate mail and attacks and all that stuff. And personally, that's fine. You know, that's bound to happen. Usually there's a saying, whoever speaks the loudest gets ridiculed the most. Well, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, and I'm willing to put up with it. But there's one thing I want to make perfectly clear, okay? One is that these people, they take my words and they twist them around and they spin them and they try to make it look like I'm saying something that's totally different than what I actually intend to say, or that I'm contradicting myself. And they do that, I think, for only one reason. Do you remember at one time when you're talking to your friends or relatives, trying to awaken them about the truth, what's happening in our world with corrupt governments, this illusion of freedom that we have? I'm sure you've run into some people who say to you, no, I don't want to hear that stuff, I don't believe in that stuff. And if you think about it, the reason why they say that is because admitting that could be possible would be like them admitting that they were fooled for all these years. And some people just can't face that fact. They can't face the fact that they were fooled by the government. Well, this is exactly no different. These people who keep somehow, like this one person came on after episode 2, and she started, twisting my words and taking them out of context, and I'm shaking my head, I'm boggled here. Like, I don't know why they tend to focus on my words and they totally disregard what Dean is actually saying. And then it dawned on me. The only reason why they do that, because if they were to acknowledge the fact that Dean maybe isn't who he says he is, then that would be an admission that they were fooled. And I think it's a little bit of a hard pill for them to swallow, considering that they're supposed to be awakened and they're supposed to have critical thinking and question things and don't take anybody's authority. The only authority is the truth. Dean Clifford is not the authority. I'm not the authority. The truth is the authority. And when I present the evidence in form of an audio recording, that can't be anything but factual. I didn't make these things up. These were Dean's words. Dean was well aware and well on board and 100% behind the FU concept from day one when I proposed this to him back in October. These people who are saying that I'm trying to push my agenda on Dean. Well, look, Dean is a big boy. You see how he talks. He says it to everybody, and he takes no shit from anybody. He's not a person that can easily be persuaded. At least not that I think, not that I thought. I don't have to push my agenda on him. I gave him the proposal back in October. He loved the idea. He was in full support of it. So now that I'm proving that he's not who he says he is, all of a sudden I'm pushing my agenda on him. Okay, fine. You go ahead and think that if it makes you sleep better at night. Okay. On March 18th, which is when these audio recordings you're going to hear today, on that day, March 18th was the day the actual FU concept was unveiled. There was a lot of dialogue that happened on that day between myself and Dean. It happened in the form of text messages, an audio record, and a Skype call, which I've recorded, an email that he sent me, and another Skype call just before the show aired in the evening. So I'm going to start first with one thing that I want to point out here is let me see here. The text message, I guess, will be the first thing I should show. And those of you who are sharing my screen should be able to see this right here. So if you look up here, the date is March 18, 2013 at 9:06 a.m. That's Pacific time. That will be my time zone. Because me and Dean agreed that we're going to have a Skype call that morning. Why? Because on March 11th, the previous Monday, that's when I apologized publicly to the audience, saying, sorry, we're not going to be able to unveil the FU project to you today because that's what was promised. That's what we told you the week before that. But on the 11th, we were supposed to reveal it. We couldn't because Dean wasn't prepared. And if you go to the episode and listen to it, you'll hear that. And but I had given you my word on March 11th that we'll definitely have something for you on March 18th. And Dean agreed to that. So this morning, on morning March 18th, me and Dean were supposed to be talking about how we're going to go to make the presentation. It was supposed to be a two-sided presentation. My side, which is the business side of it, the compensation side, and his side, which was supposed to be education stuff and the projects that FU would undertake. So here I am. I'm saying to Dean, I'm calling you, no answer. And Rob says hi back, and that's Rob Menard, by the way, because he told me to say hi to Rob, because that weekend, a couple of days before this, I was having a meeting and a few beers with Rob Menard. He replies and says, I'm not at home, cell dying, Skype in 20 minutes, going to a local cafe. I said, okay. So this all happened at 9:06 a.m. Okay, I'll stop. That's the only text message I want to share with you for now, so we'll stop here. And now we're going to go into the actual audio file, the first audio file, which happened at exactly, let me see here, 9:38 a.m., which is about a half hour after he sent me that text message saying that he's going to a cafe. So about a half hour later, we started our conference call, and it ended at 11:08 a.m. my time again. So I'll start playing the audio file, and it's roughly about an hour, almost an hour and a half. And by the way, that file, you're going to notice that it's as close to possible as in its original form. The only thing I took out from that file was a portion where Dean was talking about something totally non-related to FU. It was about some projects that he was part of, which I don't think people need to know that. Out of respect to him, that's his own private matter. I decided to take that out. But everything related to FU, which is what I'm revealing here, I've left in there, and there it is. So, starting with the first audio file now.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Tony?
Hey, you?
Don't mind me, I'm at my favorite little luncheon restaurant here having an epic Greek salad for my first meal of the day, so.
No worries.
Awesome, okay, let's get this shit done. I woke up today and I'm having the most fantastic day. I'm more motivated than ever. I'm more positive than ever. And I don't think the path before me has ever been more clear in my life.
What was the last one?
The path before me, I don't think it's ever been more clear and more distinguishable than ever.
Well, which path is this?
Everything is going on. What we have to do, what we have to get done.
Okay,
everything coming together. The proper people being in place at the proper time.
Right on. Okay, then let's start with some of the non-FU related stuff. This Thursday, you're confirmed for the show with Heather, right?
Yes. Okay. And again, I'm not really for or against. I still have to review some of the material, but...
Did you get my email on that?
I did, and I have not reviewed all the material yet. I got around to some of it because I've been concentrating on our stuff more so than anything, and a couple of the stuff I'm doing at the RCMP here. And I got to take off for a day and a half here to Saskatchewan tomorrow morning, and then I'm back. And I stuck around for our show tonight. Can we cut tonight down to an hour?
Oh, well, if we're gonna do the presentation, it's gonna be. I don't think that would work.
No way.
No.
Shit. Are you going to do the actual presentation to people tonight then, or what?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on today.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping we'd talk before today because whatever you and I talk would determine what I put in the presentation, but I'm kind of just guessing.
Yeah, unless we do like the announcement kind of thing and go over it and get feedback from people, and hold back on the actual structure of it all. Maybe, I don't know. I'm actually going to leave that entirely in your hands.
Well, the actual presentation itself just basically talks about what we're doing, what we want to do, the three phases of it. We're not getting into too much detail, but you have to give them, when you mention the alternate economy part, which is phase 2,
yep,
you have to give them more so they don't think it's going to be another money-making scheme. So you have to break it down in a way that they see that it's designed in order to create an opportunity for those who don't want to be in the current corrupt system anymore to replace their income, or for those who want to stay in the system to have an extra income while they help others learn and get educated and regain their freedom. And
yep,
for those who are unemployed, which is a lot of freedom-oriented people are, to create a new income for them.
not only that, the point I plan on making is that I understand it's in everybody's best interest that people are actually paid to go out and to promote this, to get the word out even faster.
See, that's where you interject as I'm doing the presentation, which I encourage you, as I go through the slides, because I'm going to do an actual presentation with slides, and my screen is going to be shared.
Oh, lovely, with everybody.
Yeah, because that's how we did the Lovey's show last Thursday. All the documents that Lovey's had, people wanted to be able to follow along with what Lovey's saying. They had to see the documents, so I shared my screen with everybody, and they just loved it, right?
Yeah, how'd that go, by the way?
It went really well. I got a lot of emails, people saying this is amazing, pretty strong stuff that she has in her hands, and they really. I had a lot of good positive feedback. They want her to come back.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind talking to her. Actually, a friend of mine knows that individual from years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when they first we're kind of came across all that paperwork.
She knows all the people, she knows Russ from Paradigm, the lady that works with him, that kind of took over. Yep. She knows all those people really well. Yeah, I told her that you might be coming out at the end of April, so she's...
in fact, I told a lot of people that. I think a few people are now wanting to plan seminars.
Well, have you not... I'm supposed to talk to you. Is that Nora sent you a flyer that she designed.
Yeah, I told everybody that you were going to be coordinating whatever one was going to be happening out in Vancouver area.
Yeah, but I know. But in the meantime, like Nora and I spoke, and we're trying to see what kind of interest we can generate to see if you should do 2 seminars, one on the mainland here and one on the island. Or if there's not enough interest on the island, to kind of combine them all and do just one on the mainland.
Yeah, I got another group of people that are a little bit more private. That may want to do their own little private one on the island, which is fine. It'll just remain a little private one between them, and it's at a guy's place and stuff like that. So. Okay.
Well, Nora asked me to ask you to look at the flyer she sent you, to okay it so that she can start publicizing it.
Ooh, okay. Did she send it on Skype?
She said she sent it to you. Hold on, let me see if she's on. I think I'll ask her. Okay, I sent her a message. I'll wait for her to reply. Okay, moving on. I also sent you, as I promised you, a Word document about what I think Tier 1, Tier 2 products should be. Have you looked at that?
Ah, fuck. I have not. I just got, honestly, I have never been more tired or busy than I was last week. They're getting that building done, so I can keep my customer happy there. Like, that's a $150,000 project, that I've got all my money into right now. So I had to get that done, and I was literally working morning and night.
Okay.
And today is Monday, and I basically spent most of the weekend kind of getting some other shit together, trying to answer emails, and now I'm on my laptop in the city because we're having like a blizzard here in Winnipeg, so.
Okay.
See, I got to go to my, you sent that to dcdotcf@gmail, right?
The email you gave me, whichever one you gave me.
Yeah. Which is odd because I didn't get a notice of that on my phone, but I'm going to go to my account directly here, and I'll go review that real quick here.